Okay, welcome everybody to our happy hour of free speech today, live from Strasbourg. I hear we have a live connection as well, and we will record this happy hour. So I also want to say welcome from everyone listening at home. My name is Caroline Paché. I'm the head of office of MEP Lukas Mandl, who is the initiator and host of this happy hour free speech. And today's topic is Civilization Values Future, Reflection 3 years after mutual recognition between Israel and Kosovo. And before I will introduce all of our panelists and guests, I would like to give the word to one of our co-hosts today, which is Tom Körner from the Konrad Adenauer Stiftung.
Yes, thank you, Caroline, for welcoming everyone and introducing this panel today. Dear Excellencies, esteemed guests and colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, it's my great honor to welcome you all here also on behalf of the European Office of the Konrad Adenauer Foundation. We are proud to co-host this event, and I would like to thank everyone involved in the organization for the excellent cooperation ahead of today. I'm also grateful for everyone joining us here today to discuss this important topic that connects two countries whose past, present and future impacts all of us in Europe and beyond. In September this year, NATO announced to send more troops to Kosovo after clashes erupted between the police and Serbian paramilitaries who breached the northern border. Tensions persist between Pristina and Belgrade, and Serbia maintains the refusal to accept Kosovar independence. Israel, on the other hand, faced a brutal attack perpetuated by Hamas on the 7th of October, threatening the lives of its people and questioning its right to exist. In 2020, both countries took a significant step forward towards recognition by mutually recognizing each other's existence. They both struggle for the right to exist amid challenges from terrorist groups and states alike. And it is our commitment to our shared values and principles that will drive the success of today's short but hopefully intense discussion and the future to come. I look very much forward to the exchange, and I pass the floor back to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will quickly switch into German. Für alle unsere österreichischen Gäste hier habe ich eine praktische Information vergessen. Es gibt Übersetzung in 3 Sprachen, Englisch, Deutsch, Französisch. Und dafür sind diese Kopfhörer hier da. Das heißt, aufsetzen, und der Michael, der hier irgendwo herumschwirrt, kann gerne auch erklären, wie das funktioniert, um Sprache und Lautstärke zu verstellen. So thank you to the interpreters, as always, for their work. We're very grateful to have you here. And I will now quickly introduce all of our panelists today. So we have Lumir Abdushiku, who's a member of parliament in Kosovo, and he's also the president of our EPP sister party, the Democratic League of Kosovo. Thank you for coming here to Strasbourg today. Then we have MEP David Lega from the Swedish delegation, who is also a member of the Foreign Affairs Committee and who is very active, especially on Middle East topics, and we have a very good collaboration with your office, so thanks for also joining us today. Then from the Israeli mission to the EU, we have Ehab Hino here today. He's an Israeli diplomat, and he's the head of the European Parliament Department at the Israeli mission in Brussels. Also to you, thank you for traveling here today. And then Agron Bayrami, ambassador of the Republic of Kosovo to the EU. Thank you also for being here. And on that note, I will now pass the word to Lukas Mandl, also member of the European Parliament. You all know him, for some introductory remarks.
Thank you very much. Thanks to all of you for joining. You have not yet introduced David Lega, who is, you have, sorry for that. So it's good to do it twice. David Lega is not only a good colleague from Sweden, but also very active when it comes to the Middle East, especially a champion in the Abraham Accords. And I always call the Abraham Accords the only, I mean really the only positive geopolitical development in this century yet. and you will not find any other positive geopolitical development in this century so far, I guess. So it's really something David Lega is behind, and the Abraham Accords are of utmost importance. And I highly appreciate, David, that you are joining this discussion today, because you are among the rare people from the Scandinavian countries who also have interest and attention for the Western Balkans, which is also part of today's discussion. So thanks for the excellent cooperation all the time, and also for joining today. I want to be brief, but I want to share one most important point for me, close to my heart, since I feel close with Israel, I feel close with Kosovo. The most important event in this mandate for me was when Israel recognized Kosovo, Kosovo recognized Israel. Mutual recognition between Kosovo and Israel meant a lot, and remains a strong example also for the 5 non-recognizing member states of the European Union that Israel did this, and there is a strong partnership. Kosovo deserves this, and Israel shows that it's going forward with the alignment of what I would call the Western civilization, the civilization of values, of human dignity, of individual freedom. So I highly appreciate the good cooperation between all of us on the European ground. I'm also happy that my home country, Austria, is always serving as a connector here between different countries, different approaches, and also providing a good ground for good cooperation. We have not only special guests on the panel, we have also a large number of guests. I have to be frank, a larger number than usual in the happy hour of free speech. So I'm grateful for everybody joining. Citizens from Klosterneuburg, one of the most important towns in my region, close to Vienna. If you don't yet know Klosterneuburg, I can say to the friends from abroad, you have to visit it. There is good wine in Elsass, but there is at least as good wine also in Klosterneuburg. And there are also people from the think tank Maria Pleiner Kreis, which is a think tank close to our party. And our former Minister for Justice, Wolfgang Brandstätter, is one of the participants. A long-term deputy majority head in the Lower Austrian State Parliament, Martin Schuster, also mayor of Perchtoldsdorf. There might be also good wine in Perchtoldsdorf, I have to say, at this stage. And we have young, actually very young city councillors from Graz, the largest abroad university town of Kosovo. That's Graz, actually. And we have, that's Martin Brandstätter, and also 3 city councillors from Vienna, which are Ishak Stöttner, Alexander Jansa, and Julia Heinrich. So I'm happy that we connect over all borders today in a very, very important issue, but not only because it's something to celebrate what happened 3 years ago, the recognition. It's also something to look forward, to plan for the future, to see perspectives, to gain some optimism and hope, and to better understand what the partnership between EU, Austria, Kosovo, and Israel will be about in the future. Caroline?
Thank you, Lukas, for your introductory remarks and for reminding us why we're gathering here today. I hear we have a video message from the Israeli ambassador Haim Regev, who would have liked to be here today, but given the current circumstances, it's understandable that he cannot always be where he wants to be right now. So I'm looking over to the technical team. Perfect. And we will hear the words from Ambassador Regev.
Friends, first I would like to extend my gratitude to Member of Parliament Lukas Mandl for hosting this event and for his unwavering support for the State of Israel. The establishment of diplomatic ties between Israel and Kosovo in February 21st holds a special memory for me, having personally attended the signing ceremony during my previous position as the head cabinet of Foreign Minister Gabi Ashkenazi. Kosovo, with its 93% Muslim Albanian majority, stand out as the first European country to establish an embassy in Jerusalem. Over the years, Israel and Kosovo have maintained strong relations. The Jewish community, existing for 2 or 3 centuries, have fostered positive and collaborative ties with its neighbors. Despite the tragic loss of half of its community during the Holocaust, Some members joined Albanian partisans and were saved due to their support. Additionally, Israel's humanitarian efforts, such as establishing a field hospital at the Kosovo-North Macedonia border during a critical period, showcased a commitment to aiding Kosovars. Since the establishing relations, our focus has been on enhancing ties across various domains, such as high-level visits, parliament exchange, economic cooperation, agriculture, cultural, etc. Looking ahead, we eagerly anticipate further deepening and expanding ties relation in the years to come. For conclusion, I want to express our gratitude to Kosovo for its unwavering support for the State of Israel since October 7. In the times where distinction between right and wrong has become challenging, Kosovo stands among a selected group of nations showing unwavering solidarity. Thank you.
So, thank you for sending us this message, and I will also start the discussion with a question I'd like to ask you. So, Ehab, 3 years ago, the State of Israel has decided to recognize the youngest state of Europe, the Republic of Kosovo. And this event was seen as a great example of alignment of Western civilizations, and who are all united under the umbrella of human dignity and of individual freedoms. So we would be interested if you could give us some insights about how Israel was able to find the strength to take this step forward and to recognize Europe's youngest state.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming here. Thank you, Mr. Mandl and all the distinguished MEPs, Lega, my friend, Your Excellency, all the guests. Challenging time in Israel right now, but it's very important to talk about other things, and that's why it's very important for the ambassador and for me personally to be here and to talk about these things. For me, it's very simple. When you find people that think like you, and when you find a nation that cherishes the values that your nation and your country cherish, it's very easy. It's very easy for us. And I hope that, that Israel will lead the way as a Western country or a liberal Western country oriented, to lead the way on this matter, and many countries in Europe will follow that example. So I guess it's very simple. When you find people and country and a nation that believes in the same values and cherishes the same values as you are, the decision is very easy.
Thank you. Lumia Abdishiko, now to you. The Prime Minister at the time of Kosovo, who was also your predecessor as a leader of your party, LDK, called the relationship between Kosovo and Israel a strategic partnership. So what do you expect for the future from this strategic partnership?
Thank you very much. Thank you, Lukas, for inviting me here, and dear panelists, Your Excellencies, dear guests. Let me provide you briefly with a context of LDK as a party and the importance of this recognition in this line. I chair the oldest party in Southeastern Balkans, a party that was formed after the fall of Berlin Wall, 2 weeks after. And a group of intellectuals led the huge movement for freedom, independence, and democracy, which is a state-building process. And I happen to be part of a generation, together with our good ambassador, Bayrami, who have witnessed all 3 stages of this effort. The movement for freedom, the movement for democracy, the movement for independence of the country, in the movement for finding a place of this country amongst the world. As a politician, I considered all periods to be very challenging. The movement of freedom led to NATO intervention against Milosevic's regime. And the movement of democracy involved huge Western investments in Kosovo for democratization of society, for rebuilding of society, for building the very pillars of the state that we have today, from constitution to parliament, to municipal bodies, to everybody, and also the declaration of independence and then recognitions arriving after independence was some sort of a triumph of the whole 30 years effort. And I can say with full responsibility that it was a milestone in our historical achievement, the recognition by Israel. It was of such importance. Yes, every recognition is important, but then some political positions, such as if Israel, put some sort of a stamp towards our future as a state, that the one that we seek today. And we seek a future among Euro-Atlantic community. And I think the main signal that was given during that time was related to the 5 non-recognizers within the European Union who unfortunately still do not recognize Kosovo. I'm talking about Spain, Slovakia, Romania, Cyprus, and Greece. Though we have diplomatic relations with all of them, we need recognition so our Euro-Atlantic integration process starts to deliver results. Now, when Lukas called me and provided me an invitation for this meeting, 2 very important events didn't occur. The first one, of course, disproportionate for the terror and consequence, but very important for both of our sides. The first one is the terror of Hamas on Israel and the destruction occurred. And the other one was a terrorist attack in our country as well by a group of trained militarists, paramilitary forces from Serbia who came, killed a policeman, a father of 3, and left Kosovo back to Serbia, where they get protection. And now this sense of attack on sovereignty of a country and on police or even on civilians gives you a sense that you have every right to defend. Of course you have every right to defend, that's not a question, but it gives you also a sense that you need friends. And you need friends to react to what happened. And this is my call even today here at this House of Democracy, that Kosovo needs friends. We need our allies. Unfortunately, we are not in the position to defend ourselves at the extent without friends, without the NATO. We have NATO troops in Kosovo, but we do need that this process that started 30 years ago to conclude with the NATO membership of Kosovo and also EU membership of Kosovo. This would give stability to the whole region and to Kosovo. On in political level, I'm very proud that I lead a party that has reached recognition during the governance, our governance, in the Republic of Kosovo. And I'm very happy to promote bilateral collaboration mainly on 3 fields. The first one is technology. Kosovo has a very young population. It's booming on IT sector, and our young people should stay in Kosovo. And in order for that to happen, they should look for sectors that deliver them jobs, highly paid jobs, and keep them in our country. And Israel has a great experience in this regard, so that would be very beneficial for this country, for this aspect. The second one is security again. Kosovo aims to be a member of NATO. It requires support from all the countries in the world, and Israel is rightly positioned in this regard. And the third one is economic one. It's investments, businesses coming into a young country who is building itself every day. But perhaps the first step should be to open the embassy, Israeli embassy, physical embassy in Pristina, and then move it from there. Again, thank you very much, and I'm happy to answer any question raised today.
Thank you very much. You mentioned that Kosovo needs friends. I can tell you that for sure on this panel Kosovo has friends. So my next question is directed at Ambassador Bayrami. We have witnessed over the last years or even decades that the Kosovo people have proven their patience, especially when it comes to visa liberalization, for example, which finally will be realized on 1st of January 2024. But still, we witness major trouble from outside, which is caused to the Republic of Kosovo. So we've heard Lumi Abdishiku's answer now, what it meant for him, the recognition from Israel of Kosovo. It was a milestone, but we'd also be interested in your take on what it means to you.
Thank you, Caroline. Thank you, Lukas, for having us here. Thank you to my dear friend and president of LDK, Lumir, for being here to share this panel together, and also for our fellow colleague diplomat, Mr. Hino from the Israeli Embassy, and to all of you for being here in so great number. I think it's an important signal for both us as Kosovo, but also for Israel. To go back to your question, Caroline, in 2013, I first visited the Museum of Remembrance in New York of the Holocaust. And one of the things that I picked up there was this card, which is an identification card of a person named Elia Rosenblatt, one of more than 6 million people who perished under the Nazi regime during an end of the Second World War. And this card I opened up to read in September of 2020 when Israel recognized Kosovo. And I thought to myself, and this is my personal feeling about this, I thought to myself, well, this is how you invest in peace. The independent Kosovo was brought as a compromise to the people of Kosovo in order to build peace for the region of Western Balkans. The recognition of the Republic of Kosovo from all 22 current members of EU and others in the world, including Israel, is investment into the peace not only in the Western Balkans, but also peace in Europe. And I think today we are at the moment when we can see very clearly what it means. And I do hope, just as it was mentioned here, that others would follow the Israel and Austrian and other countries' example of recognition of Kosovo, because it's not only about recognizing Kosovo's right to be independent, it's also about recognizing that only if we close all our issues, we can safely say that we are free from the fear of future conflicts. And this is where I want to link to the question that Caroline posed about what was going on in the last couple of weeks and months and even years in our country. We do have the dialogue with the Republic of Serbia. We are trying to conclude the issue by normalizing the relations with the Republic of Serbia. We have accepted continuously different compromises from 1999 in Rambouillet, 2007 in Vienna talks, and now in Brussels for more than 10 years. Unfortunately, the other side has not followed. And this is why it is important that the issue of recognition, such as it was brought from Israel 3 years ago, to be underlined as the way to move forward. This is why we are grateful, not only that Israel recognizes that we share the same values, that European Union member countries like Austria and others recognize that we share the same values, but also that everybody recognizes that we cannot go on living in a world in which the neighbors don't recognize you and therefore they feel free to attack you. They feel free to go in the middle of the night and terrorize your people, your institutions and your country only because they think that you will not be able to respond. And I think this is the moment where we share our, let's say, views and we feel with Israel, always knowing that our only aim is to have peace and to have stability and democracy and to feel free in this world. And in this regard, maybe I will close. So there are so many people here. I would like to hear whether there is any question. Thank you.
Thank you very much. There's one sentence that I've noted down from what you said, which is especially important right now, and that's investment in peace. So thanks for underlining that. David Lega, we've already heard that you're a very active MEP, especially in the Middle East, for example, when it comes to the topic of Abraham Accords, but also in the Western Balkans you're active, and you're the shadow rapporteur for the Albania report, for example. And it's interesting also to have you here because you're from Sweden, and maybe the topics of Western Balkan countries are not, due to a geographical location, not on the highest priority agenda of Sweden and other Scandinavian countries, which might be different, for example, in Austria due to the geographical proximity. So we'd be interested in what the meaning of the recognition of both of these countries is to you. Why is it important that they recognize each other?
Well, thank you so much, Caroline, and thank you to all the panelists. Welcome here also to Strasbourg. I was about to say Brussels, it feels like we're everywhere. And also, I just have to start by saying a very big thank you to Lukas, who keeps arranging these kinds of seminars every month. All of us others are trying just to survive Strasbourg weeks and have a time to eat something, and he organized a special conference every month. It's very impressive. President Abdishiko, thank you for being here also, and congratulations on your re-election. That was important. Well, I think that it changed, not the least after the Russian horrible invasion of Ukraine. I think also the Scandinavian countries started, even those who didn't see it before, started to understand that Europe is one. In a whole different perspective than we did before, that we couldn't no longer say that everything was on our terms when we had the will, energy and time to do something, that nothing was a deserted island, that European integration came about values, about faith. And I think that still many people in Scandinavia unfortunately thinks that the recognition happened by itself or by magic, not by the real hard work that it actually entailed, not by the long dialogues, not by the support of all our partners that we needed to do it, including not only the European Union, but also the USA, and that we did it together, that we talk about our values, the European values, the values that we call European, as we all know, are based on the Abrahamic faith and ethics. And the fact that we managed to put this together, it was highly important in everything concerning the nearing of Kosovo to Europe, but also with incredibly important partners like the State of Israel. And just have to say to Ehab, also to pass on to you, to your boss, Ambassador Regev, that you have the full support of this Parliament after the horrible attacks at October 7, and that we will continue to do everything in our might to keep that support going. And you know that you have the full support of the EPP party, which me, Lukas, and Lumir is a part of. So you don't only have friends here, you have partners. And I think this will be even more visible in the whole ascension process that we're moving towards.
Thank you, David Lega. So I can sense a very strong partnership, and we've gotten a good feeling on why it's important. We would like to also give you in the audience the chance to ask some questions. So please feel free to raise your hand now if you wish to ask one of our panelists or make a statement, maybe. Don't be shy. Usually someone needs to make the first step.
It's also possible in German.
Yes, also in German, bitte.
Thank you very much. First of all, I want to say thank you for this great initiative. Thank you, Lukas. But I wanted to tell you that I have a very personal approach to the issue of today, and that's why I want to say thank you to Mr. Körner, who represents the Konrad Adenauer Stiftung. And I want to tell you why. When I was a very young assistant professor at the University of Vienna, I had the chance to be, let's say, lecturer at an event in Hungary, in Budapest, dealing with rule of law issues. This was in 1991, very early. And this event was sponsored by the Konrad Adenauer Stiftung. And then I learned how important these initiatives by Konrad Adenauer Stiftung really are. Later on, I had the chance for lectures in Brno, at that time Czechoslovakia. Later on, I had the chance to be in Krakow. I heard lectures there, always dealing with the issue rule of law, democracy, fundamental rights. And I think we all should realize that these activities of the Konrad Adenauer Stiftung, they are so important. They are behind the scenes, behind the political scenes. But nevertheless, it's very important that we have you supporting young scientists, young lawyers, going outside and, well, having lectures there. And that's what I wanted to say. Thank you to you. And the second thing I wanted to say, I learned so much on these occasions that I could make use of what I learned on these occasions when I was in the Ministry of Justice in Austria. And at that time, I did what I could to support the Western Balkan states in their in their needs and in their efforts to meet the rule of law standards of the European Union. I was in Albania, I was in Serbia, I was in Bosnia a couple of times, I was in Montenegro, and I hope that this support coming from Austria is still going on. I can only hope it, because when I went out of the office, I do not really know what happened. So I have only one question, especially for you, Mr. Abdihibku. Is there anything we could do in the future from Austria to support you in this necessity to meet these standards? Is it enough what we already did, or couldn't we do more? And if there's any chance to strengthen our activities in this sense, I would be more than happy.
Thank you for your question. Actually, Austria has been at the forefront of support of Kosovo at European level. Now, asking more from Austria would be unfair, but those that are at the forefront are obliged to do even more, I guess. So in that sense, I'll take you an example. When Lukas proposed at the last Congress of EPP in Rotterdam a resolution about liberalization of lifting the visa regime on Kosovo citizens, the resolution passed, but some of the non-recognizers voted against. Now, we couldn't understand why would they vote against, because Kosovo remained, as you know, surrounded by countries that for the past decade, for more than 10 years, have been traveling free around Europe. And frankly speaking, on every standard of living, democracy or state functionality, they are far behind from Kosovo. Again, going back to the Western investments, Kosovo has received enormous investments, special on security, special on democracy. So it's far more advanced in that regards, but still, the vote on that specific resolution was from non-recognizers very present there. And I think Europeans can communicate better to them than we can do, and perhaps build bridges between us and them. So getting the recognition from 5 non-recognizers is essential for Kosovo at this stage. Simply put, Kosovo doesn't have European future if there are no 5 non-recognizers shifting their position. I think you can do a lot on this regards, and I believe you are doing more than enough, but again, bring other partners with you, other friends with you, and help us in this regards. And you mentioned Konrad Adenauer Stiftung. They're doing a lot as well for the party level. I'm going to use this floor to talk also about the party developments as well, so this might be a different topic, but keeping EPP parties together, connected, and helping each other is very essential for party growth, democracy growth, because we learn a lot even from presence as the one here. And thank you for everything you've done, and hope you visit Kosovo anytime soon. Since you've been everywhere in the region, we have good places as well in Kosovo. And hospitality is, let's say, better than any other country.
Well, just may I add, if I'm not too old for Kosovo, I would like to come.
Thank you. Julia Heinrich, please.
Thank you very much. My question would be to Mr. Hino. First of all, I would like to express also how shocked and devastated we were by the events that occurred on 7th of October. Never in my short life so far had I seen so much disinformation when it came to a conflict, actually, also on social media and also amongst people I know. And I wanted to ask you, first of all, what are you doing, what is your country doing to tackle this high amount of disinformation? And the second question would be, as I am from Vienna and a local councillor there, what do you think can we do to give our Jewish community a sense of security, since, of course, they are scared if they see all those anti-Semitic events occurring in our countries. What do you think or recommend that we could do to give our Jewish citizens and friends the feeling that they are actually safe and that we like and want their presence in our countries? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. You said you're from Vienna. Yeah. Well, as I speak, troops are fighting for the right to defend ourselves inside Gaza. So it's hard for me. My friends, I would have been enlisted to the army if I weren't a diplomat, a designated diplomat who needs to fight in this arena, which is important as fighting on the field. You're right. There's a lot of disinformation. And this is one of the hardest battles that we're dealing with. But I wouldn't take that as an example for a position or an official position, at least. Look at what's happening here in the Parliament. On the 19th of October, there was a resolution adopted recognizing the right for Israel to defend itself, calling for the elimination of the terrorist group Hamas, and among other things, mentioning anti-Semitism and condemning the actions of Hamas and a lot of things, which was a reasonable resolution regarding what happened on the 7th of October. Now, this resolution was adopted by a vast majority, I believe 500 votes against 21 votes who voted against. I would refer to that as a position of Europe rather than to what we're seeing in the media and especially on the social media. There's a lot of actors that controlling the social media and controlling the media that would like to see an alternative reality maybe in the Middle East, that they maybe don't like Israel, maybe don't like what Israel is doing. But when it comes to actions, we see that 3 months into, well, 2 months plus into this horrific attack by the terrorist group Hamas, there is no official call, not from Europe nor from the US, on a ceasefire. And actually today the left group presented a change to the agenda, and again it was rejected to have a resolution on ceasefire, because here in the parliament they understand that a ceasefire would serve only one party, which is a terrorist group recognized by. So we believe that there is a majority, a silent majority in Europe that's supporting Israel. Unfortunately, it's silent, it's not vocal. And the other side, which is a minority right now, are very, very vocal, and that's why we're seeing this. But you're right, it's a lot of disinformation, unfortunately. People here, MEPs, are calling for, as Israel is committing a genocide, which is clearly untrue, and a lot of things. But we need to still fight in that. Now, regarding the second question about Jewish, I think a lot needs to be done. And it's connected to the first question, to the disinformation, but Jewish needs to feel safe. And it starts from the highest position, from leaders of countries, leaders of political parties, leaders of communities, go all the way to every household here in Europe. It starts with education from a young age, that we are all equal and there is no difference between any human being. And I think a lot needs to be done in order for Jewish to feel safe. Now, take for example our friends from Kosovo, their recognition of the state of Israel. Now we're talking about what you're feeling, but now I will talk how we feel. Their recognition of the state of Israel, it's immense for us. And they're establishing, as the first European country to establish an embassy in Jerusalem, it's huge for us. Because this is a country that a majority, Muslims majority, yet they recognize fully the state of Israel. This is, we're talking about recognition. I mean, we're dealing with the same problem. I mean, this is the problem that Israel is facing. When there are people that calling from the river to the sea, this is a non-recognition of the state of Israel. This is a call for the extinction of the state of Israel, and it fits the Jews. So, all over the world. So it's a circle, an evil circle that we need to fight on all fronts, and definitely we need Europe on this regard. Jewish people need to feel safe, and right now they don't feel safe in Europe, not in a lot of countries. There's actually some countries that Jewish feel safer than others. But I can tell you that the requests for moving to Israel by Jewish here in Europe are doubled since the 7th of October regarding comparing to last year. So there's a lot to be done, and we need to work together in order to achieve that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ihab. I saw that David Lega would also take the floor.
If you don't mind, I'll be brief. I just want to add also to your question, since I'm also a member of the European Parliament's working group against anti-Semitism, that this is not Israel's problem. It's all of us, and we need to do it together. We cannot leave it to Israel to fight anti-Semitism, because it clearly interferes with our values in Europe and globally as well. I think that what we need to do is to continue on a European level to push all member states to appoint their special envoys to combat anti-Semitism, to follow the first strategy that we made in Europe on combating anti-Semitism, but also fostering Jewish way of life. That was the first one who weren't only reactive on how to fight something that's happening, but also in a positive way foster Jewish way of life. I think that is crucial. And I think that we need to do this together with the US over the Atlantic, and also I'm also co-chair of the Interparliamentary Alliance to Combat Online Anti-Semitism. I was in DC just a few weeks ago, where we really pushed the tech companies, Facebook, Meta, Google, TikTok, YouTube, everyone there. We need to keep pushing on not accepting to have this on our servers. Otherwise, we shut them down. It's as simple as that. And that we need to do together, because Israel alone cannot do that.
Thank you for this very important addition. Any other questions from the floor? You can ask your question also in German if you want to. We have 10 more minutes, so we could take one more person. Otherwise, if there are no questions, I would pass back to Lukas and maybe ask all of the speakers for some final remarks. And starting with you, Lukas.
Thank you very much. First, I want to emphasize what Wolfgang Brandstätter, our former Justice Minister, said about Konrad Adenauer Stiftung. I missed to properly thank Konrad Adenauer Stiftung for cooperating on today's event. Sometimes we have cooperation partners, sometimes not. This time we have one, and it was clear and direct positive decision from Konrad Adenauer Stiftung, and I highly appreciate that, and I want to commend it. And I missed to introduce another colleague from the Kosovo Parliament, Jehona Lushaku. I have spelled it correctly today. I know your name. And Jehona is not only parliament member, she is also heading the women organization of LDK. And we already agreed that one day we will be colleagues in the European Parliament. When Kosovo will be a EU member state, you will run for election. Lumia will support you, I've heard. And then you will be in European Parliament too. So thanks for this already entering European Parliament today. Well, I have to say, I don't want to add something politically or diplomatic. I want to add that the moment that was most touching for me in this discussion yet was when Mr. Hino said it's not only one way important that the mutual recognition took place, but also the other way. And this is what partnership means, and this is what alignment means, and this is what gives me hope in the values of our civilization, that we can more and more align that way, even with geographical distance and other issues. This is a good example Kosovo and Israel provided the world with, and this is why I'm happy that we can share this today and spread the message over various borders and to many people, and by our live stream and everything we have here today. So thanks for this direct and also very motivating messages which cause any optimism and hope you can imagine. I understood, Caroline, the way that I was more or less to fill the break until somebody will take the floor. So maybe there is somebody left, because we are happy to have the interpreters, and we always have the interpreters until 7 sharp, so we still have a few minutes left. I guess for some of you, the topic seems to be so huge, so big, so complex, so maybe you don't want to take the floor for that reason, but it's quite the other way around. I guess each and every understanding, each and every thought, each and every personal experience about the one thing or the other with any of the topics touched would be interesting. Matteo from South Tyrol is taking the floor, I can see, and I pass over to Caroline officially and to Matteo practically.
Thank you very much. No, just a very brief remark. Thank you so much for this very inspiring aspects on this on relationship and on partnership. An additional instrument which I'm very happy now to share also insight from my University of Salzburg for teacher education. We have a new Erasmus Plus partnership with Kosovo, and I'm very happy that we are having teaching staff mobility and also student mobility. And the same way I had opportunity as a student to visit Israel twice on Erasmus Plus. I think these instruments Europe is already giving to support also other countries outside of EU members are so important for the development of young minds and also of professionals within the system of higher education and also other professional contexts. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Matteo. Anyone else who wants to take the floor for a statement or a question? Then maybe some final remarks, starting with you, Ambassador.
Thank you all. Thank you for the input and the words and the statements. I think that as a final note, maybe I would like to go back to the issue which was tackled by Mr. Lega, and I think yes, it is our European problem that we need to deal with, the raising anti-Semitism as a consequence also of the proliferation of the fake news and propaganda. I was a journalist for 30 years before I became a diplomat, and I can tell you that I don't remember in all my time as a journalist that I have seen so much propaganda and false information being disseminated so quickly and so widely, and so many people believing them. And I think this is a major problem for the Western world in general, but for Europe in particular. And I think in this regard, when we talk about not only about the current war on terror that Israel wages, but also about the Russian aggression in Ukraine, I think there is enormous amount of propaganda and fake news, which a lot of people are falling prey to, initiated by Russia and through its proxies also in Europe, in our region. We have one, our northern neighbor, and we have seen that time and again, and I think it's time to reflect on that. How do we defend ourselves from this? Because this is a major issue that will influence not only our future but also our present. And as a final note, of course, that I did not mention, we have, of course, been very clear on our position after the 7th of October attacks that Israel is dealing still with, and we do support the right of Israel to defend itself. We do support the idea that this will have to be concluded with a peace, but not before we are sure that something similar cannot happen again. And I think this goes the same way in our case. It was mentioned that we have had a similar experience from our perspective. I don't want to also draw any comparisons because they are not comparable. But I think that this House here has been a very supportive institution within the EU, and especially selected group of members of parliament, most of them all Mr. Mandl, in order to energize the European Union to be ready and to be alert towards these threats, which again we are seeing rising back and bringing us in situations which are very similar with our past. With that remark, I would maybe just conclude and thank you.
Thank you. Please, for your final remarks.
Thank you. I have one conclusion for this panel. Lukas, we need you next mandate. So both Israel and Kosovo. I would like to close my closing remark with what you said, Your Excellency, about your support to the State of Israel. As our ambassador said in the short video, you stand, among others, like Austria as well, a handful of countries that support Israel without any condition. There's a lot of countries that supported us since the 7th of October, but as time goes on, the support start being conditional. And really, when, as you said, there's a lot of disinformation, it's really hard and challenging to distinguish between right and wrong. And we thank our friends, our true friends, for their support and for the stand with Israel. Thank you so much. I'm pretty sure I talked to our ambassador to Kosovo, Tami Ziv, and she mentioned that we are in an immense work to enhance the relation between Kosovo and Israel and many, many fields. And I'm pretty sure that our best minds in Israel that dealing with this issue will make the best out of it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Lumia Abdishiko, your conclusion or final words.
I have 30 seconds or so before interpreters leave, but I'll be very, very brief. I think what Mr. Hino said is very essential. The battle between good and evil always goes on, but it's reaction to the battle that matters a lot. And while Kosovo has been, for the past 2 months, attacked, still the reaction of European institutions is not at the level that one would expect. You have a terrorist action in Kosovo. We need strong reaction so those actions do not repeat again. And by this, I would like to conclude my final word, but also a personal feeling. A month after terrorist attack in Israel, Israeli footballers came to Kosovo. They used to be placed just in my neighborhood. And the videos appear that they came in through the rocket attacks to Pristina. Yes, we beat them on the field.
We're not that good in the...
as a sense of security, it was terrible to see. So if the sportsmen are afraid to travel around the world and every member of communities felt like that, it's a terrible feeling for everyone, and we share that pain with you. So thank you again to everyone for having patience.
Thank you. Tom Körner, maybe you also want to say one final sentence. I see interpretation is already gone, but maybe one sentence from you.
Yes, I can see they're gone. Well, thank you, especially also for the people who were mentioning our foundation, although we were not participating as much as we might do in other events, because this is mainly hosted by Lukas Mandl. So thank you much for everyone coming in this short but concise hour, joining us here, and interesting exchange to see how much of an importance this recognition is, not only on a symbolic level, but in general on a political level for everyone involved. So thank you.
Thank you. I think as a conclusion for today's happy hour, we can take away that this recognition of those two countries is mutually important, and we need to continue to fight anti-Semitism, to fight disinformation together with our like-minded partners who uphold the values that we support in the European Union, which includes the individual freedoms, which include democracy, and which includes human dignity. On that note, thank you all for joining us tonight, and I wish you a very nice evening.